Since October 7th, the Biden administration has given $774 million to Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. And now they're adding another $100 million to that. We saw the direct consequences of this week in two different Palestinian Arab terror attacks on Jews here in Judea and Samaria. Joe Biden also claimed he was a Zionist right before saying he's done more for the Palestinians than anybody he knows. We're talking about all that here on today's show, so stay tuned. I'm Justin, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Welcome back to the show, guys. First off, make sure to subscribe. Also hit the notification bell. Leave us a comment below. Let us know where you're watching from or if you're a new viewer. Guys, you thought it couldn't get any worse, but unfortunately what you heard in the pre-show was true. And I guess it's not really surprising at this point, but for me, it's just a little bit hard to wrap my mind around why a U.S., our government, American administration would be actively funding terrorism. As you heard, the Biden administration is now sending another $100 million to Palestinians in Gaza and in Judea and Samaria, what the world calls the West Bank. I use air quotes because the Palestinians are not a real people. They are made up people. Also, this money that they're sending to the Palestinians is not going to the Palestinian people. It's going to the different governments, which I'm going to get into here on today's show. This will put the amount of money that the Biden administration has given to the Palestinians since October 7th up to $774 million. $774 million. That's a lot of money. That's absolutely insane. On June 5th, Samantha Power, who is the administrator of the U.S. Agency for International Development, she announced that the United States would donate $90 million in aid to the Palestinians. And now, just over a month later, she announced that they're planning to send another $100 million to Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. Here's what the official press release says. Today, Administrator Samantha Power announced that the United States, through U.S. aid, will provide an additional $100 million in critical humanitarian assistance for Palestinians in dire need throughout Gaza and the West Bank. This funding will support U.S. aid's partner, the UN World Food Program, to deliver urgently needed food assistance in Gaza and the West Bank. Nearly the entire population in Gaza is facing emergency levels of food insecurity and is in need of assistance, especially the most vulnerable, including children and pregnant and nursing women. So this is the official USAID, U.S. government statement press release, and they are saying that Gaza, nearly the entire population of Gaza is facing emergency levels of food insecurity and is in need of assistance. What boggles me, and I don't understand this at all, is if nearly the entire population of Gaza has been suffering starvation, has been suffering famine for months, then it seems like most of the entire population would be dead by now if they've been suffering the same famine and starvation for months. There are many, many problems with this statement, with this overall thing. The entire population of Gaza, nearly the entire population of Gaza, as they're saying, they are not facing emergency levels of food insecurity. Flat out lie coming from them. Hardly anyone in Gaza is starving. We actually made a whole video on this whole thing, whether the people of Gaza are actually starving. You should definitely go check that out on our channel. The UN also admitted that their claims, they've been claiming that there's been famine inside of Gaza. Those claims, they said, they admitted themselves, they're not database. They're just, speculating that most of the people, nearly the entire population of Gaza, is starving. Secondly, even if people in Gaza were starving, most of the people were starving, then how are you going to ensure that this doesn't get into the hands of Hamas? Is it just going to be magically better when you try it this time? There are literally videos of Hamas opening fire on their own people, trying to get food from convoys in Gaza. That's insane. So how are you going to ensure that this food that you're trying to send in, or that this money is actually going to get to the people of Gaza? Also, aid to the Palestinians in the West Bank. This is another point. Aid to Palestinians in the West Bank. People who have been watching our channel for a while, you guys know what this means. This goes straight to the Palestinian Authority, lining the pockets of the Palestinian Authority leaders. The Palestinian Authority then directly pays the salaries of terrorists who either murdered a Jew in the land of Israel or attempted to murder a Jew in the land of Israel and are now sitting in Israeli prisons, which is against American law. President Trump at the time, back in 2017, signed it into law, the Taylor Force Act. An American citizen was over here in Israel. He was murdered by a Palestinian terrorist. Trump found out that the terrorist was getting paid by the Palestinian Authority, and he was like, this is a serious problem. So he decided to cut that and make that a law where that's illegal to pay to slay is what they called it. So the Biden administration is, with this, breaking the law. We'll be right back with the rest of the show, but first, prayer is the oxygen that gives life to our faith, but too often we struggle to find the right words to speak to God from our hearts. We need a way to give voice to our deepest emotions. That's why I'm excited to share with you Stand By Me, Hebrew Prayers for All Believers. This groundbreaking new book opens the vast tradition of Hebrew prayer to English speakers. For the first time, you'll have access to 43 of the most powerful prayers in the original Hebrew, along with an English translation and complete transliteration, so you can read the words in the original Hebrew. From petitions for health and sustenance to cries for God's protection to outpourings of praise and gratitude, Stand By Me covers every situation. Let these ancient words of our ancestors flow from your lips as well. Don't let another day go by without the power of Hebrew prayer. Get your copy of Stand By Me by clicking the link in the description below. Meanwhile, as the Biden administration continues to fund terrorism, more terrorism is continuing, unfortunately, to happen in Israel on a weekly basis. Imagine that. They're funding terrorism, more terrorism is happening. Yesterday, on July 16th, 3 Israelis were injured by terrorists who opened a fire on their vehicle. 3 guys, 15, 16, and 32. They were treated at the scene, and then they were evacuated to the hospital. One of the guys, his name was Uri Hirschfield. He told Yossi Dagan, the governor of the region here, he said, quote, "We left Avnei Chevetz and were headed to Har Bracha. We got to the intersection. I heard a loud boom and found the exit holes of a bullet. I looked to my friend on my right and saw that he had been hit and had blood on his hands. We continued driving straight from here and we saw an IDF Jeep. We stopped it and arrived here." Yossi Dagan said that the attack is a clear reminder that there is a war in Judea and Samaria, just like there's a war in Gaza and on the northern border. The Palestinian Authority is the same as Hamas. Some are terrorists in suits and some are terrorists with the green Hamas bandana on their foreheads. I demand from the government and the high command to change the approach already. So he's absolutely correct here. The Palestinian Authority, whom the Biden administration is actually, we're trying to look to maybe replace Hamas in Gaza with the Palestinian Authority. The world mostly considers them a moderate organization, but as I talked about, they are a terrorist organization who are directly funding terrorists. The terrorists who opened fire on these 3 guys, they haven't been found yet. As of yet, the IDF is searching for them. Maybe by the time you watch this video, the IDF will have found them. Hopefully they will. The point is, if these terrorists are killed, their families will be paid by the Palestinian Authority, and if they go to Israeli prison, then they themselves will receive a salary from the Palestinian Authority and in prison. And where is all this money coming from the Palestinian Authority to pay these terrorists? It's not complicated, folks. The Biden administration is directly funding terrorism in Israel, and that's just facts. There was also a stabbing attack 2 days ago on a police officer. The officer was lightly injured, and the terrorist was, thank God, neutralized. Along all of these same lines, in an interview last week, President Joe Biden claimed that he was a Zionist. And then right afterwards, said that he's done more for the Palestinian community than anybody. Watch this clip.
Are you a Zionist?
Yes. Now, you'll be able to make a lot out of it because people don't know what a Zionist is. Do you know what a Zionist is?
I just ask questions, I don't answer.
By the way, I'm the guy that did more for the Palestinian community than anybody. I'm the guy that opened up all the assets. I'm the guy that made sure that I got the Egyptians to open the border to let good goods through, medicine and food but what's happening is, and I'm the guy that's been able to pull together the Arab states to agree to help the Palestinians with food and shelter.
One thing is for sure, I think he's done more for Hamas and the Palestinian Authority than many, many people. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a comment wherever you're watching. We really appreciate you guys tuning into the show here at The Israel Guys. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening here in Israel. In a world that is filled with confusion, anti-God rhetoric, and wokeism, God still has a plan for his people. For those who believe in the Bible, God is enacting a redemptive plan, and it is centered in Jerusalem. Facing Jerusalem is a refreshing, easy-to-read guide to understanding Jerusalem's role for Christians. Banking on our nearly 20 years of serving here in Israel and filled with our personal stories of working in the Holy Land, this book is sure to inspire, challenge, and fill you with fresh zeal in your walk with God. Order Facing Jerusalem today at an exclusive special discount. Use promo code Jerusalem to receive 10% off of your order. It's time to experience revival in the Christian faith, and we believe that a key ingredient to that is spiritually and physically facing Jerusalem. Go to facingjerusalemthebook.com or just click the link in the description below to get your copy today.